this computer. Okay. So again, we're on 110. We are on order of operations using exponents and rational numbers. Now I think this one's kind of funny right here with the says after you, and he's like math chivalry, like showing manners, right? So he's going after the parentheses and the exponent and the division, right? The addition guy. So there you go. All right. So let's kind of talk through again. We got a lot of people who've joined us the last couple of weeks. So I want to make sure everybody is on track with what we're doing. I have a very large coffee cup here today. That is like huge. Yeah, it's really heavy too. Um, so the way this works is I send out grade updates on the number your parents have for to receive that on Mondays. I didn't send one this Monday because we only had 2 days, so that'll be next Monday. I'll send those. You really need to check your Canvas grade book for any missing work, zeros, anything like that. I know I was looking with somebody yesterday, and probably half of y'all at this point in the year, I've tried to show this to at some point. On your grade book, you need to not have a number beside that in red that says things. That's basically telling you things that you haven't checked. Okay. Same with your inbox, your Canvas inbox. You need to make sure that those messages are zero because that means that you're not missing something that one of the teachers has tried to send to you. Okay. So just make sure you're always checking that. Two, I have basically after playing around with it, this is my first year teaching virtual math. I kind of arrived at I'm attaching points to every single thing I get you to turn in. Um, and so that way you understand that I'm requiring you to do it. Lorraine, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there. We did not finish that. I did not get to that Kahoot. I posted that one and I put optional beside it so you know that that's just for extra practice if you needed it. But basically, unless I put optional, just assume everything's required. Okay. We hold target time for math is 12 to 12:45 Monday to Thursday. If you got either skills that you need to work on, or maybe how you're going to show work on a particular thing, or anything of that nature, you can come in at any time during that time. If I don't admit you immediately when you come in, it might be that I'm trying to finish showing somebody something, and like I'm showing their grade book, and I don't want somebody to see their grade book or something like that. And so if you're there and I don't let you in just like that, then just wait a minute, and I'll certainly going to get to you as soon as I can. All right. Um, so we're working on order of operations here. So this is standard EE1. That's the one I'm assessing this week. And so that'll be the quiz on Friday. All right. So we're using the correct order of operations for mathematical expressions, including exponents and rational numbers. That's our goal for today. Okay. We did that last Thursday, 1-4. And then today we're going to add in the exponents because we did the exponents on Monday and Tuesday. Also, look over my comments on your work from Monday and Tuesday. Make sure you get it. If you got stuff where you didn't do it the way I wanted you to, you can resubmit it and I'll get you the full points back. All right. So I want to do this one for a warm up. So I want you to put your answer just in the chat here. Okay. A, B, C, D, E. So it says which expressions. So there's more than one answer here that will show us the volume of the cube. Okay, so volume of a rectangular prism, cube is a rectangular prism, is length times width times height. Well, if we got a cube, that means all of the sides are the same. Okay, so there's more than one answer. Gary, that one is correct. There's just there's more. Okay, so type me the answers. Nope, not that one, Garrick. Okay, let's see, Ray and Shelby. Y'all are correct. Sage, you're correct. There's actually one more. There's three answers. Nope, not that one, Garrett. Okay, good, Luke. That's right. Okay, there's three answers. Yes, Sage. Yes, Larry. Good. Tell me what you got. If you aren't sure, I won't embarrass you. I'll just let you know yes or no. Okay, good, Shelby. That's it. Charlie, that's right. There's one more. Good, Natalie. That's right. Okay, I'll give you a hint if you're stuck on it a little bit. The way to do this, in my opinion, would be to label the length, width, and the height. Then that tells you to multiply those out. Okay. No, not that one, Emma. Try again. So what you're doing then is you're multiplying these three. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're taking length times width times height. Okay. So then that's going to be 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Right. So obviously you should see the answers now. Chloe, 2 of those are right. One is wrong. That one, the last one you put is wrong. Okay, Emma, those 2 are right. Yes. Garrett, you're right. It is that one. Okay, no Chloe. You changed it wrong again. Again, for you to do virtual math well, that means you being involved in a lot while we're doing this. Okay. If you're just sitting there and not being involved, you're not going to learn that well. Okay. You're just not. Okay. So this right here should obviously be this, right? Okay. Because 1/2, that means 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Now, the other thing with this, 1/2 times 1/2, you can do top times top. That's going to be 1. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Okay, so that's C. Okay, now the other thing here, if you see 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2, that's this guy right here, right? So that's A. Okay, so it's A, C, and D. Okay, any questions on that one? I was wanting you to see that that's actually an application of what we were doing the other day with exponents, okay? And getting to where you can recognize that all 3 of those are equivalent expressions. All right, questions on that? Okay, now here's like some of you guys need a bit more of a challenge than I give you sometimes. Okay, so this is like you want to be an excellent math student. I want you to see if you can get this one. If I double the side length of the cube, what will happen to the volume? Okay, A, B, C, or D. I'm going to double the side length of the cube. What's going to happen to the volume? Emma, that is correct. Whenever somebody tells me one that's correct, I will tell them. Shelby, you're correct. And I've still only seen those 2 right. Let's give it a shot. Okay, I'll give you a hint now. If you actually will double it, then 1/2 times 2 is 1, right? Yes, Sage. It is not, Chloe. Okay, so the volume, remember the volume before was 1/8. Yes, Mary. So now the volume is going to be 1 times 1 times 1 equals 1. And then 1/8, yeah, Luke. So if you think about it, what did we do? We had 1/8. We did times 8, which will give us 8/8 or 1. So it's C. Now, I want you to think about this. There's actually something to why this is this. Okay, so look at this. What we did is we did each side times 2, right? So look at it like this. We did 1/2 times 2. We doubled each one of them. So this is times 2, this is times 2, and this is times 2. So what we did here is we took the side length, okay, and each side we did times 2, right? So we did, if you think about it here, what we did is we did it times 2 but we did it times 2 3 times. So we did it times 2 to the third power, right? So if we did it times 2 to the third power, we did it times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 to the third power, which is 8. Does that kind of make sense there? There's a little more kind of advanced thinking there, but I wanted you to see that because there's actually a possibility that could be on, say, SC Ready. That would be one of the harder ones on there. But what I would suggest you do is you work it out and then you will find it. Okay. That's what I always did with that. All right. So let's talk order of operations here. Okay. Now, some of y'all are good at order of operations already. Some of you you're not. Okay. I get it. And that's why on 1-4, we did some without exponents in there. What I will say is that there's a video on 1-4, this really annoying song that is really good, that will really help you to understand the order of operations, I think, pretty well. Okay. So it goes like this. PEMDAS, the old school way, like I learned it, was please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. All right. Some math people call it GIMDAS now, and that just annoys me. I don't like when people change things for no reason. Okay. So it's like this, PEMDAS. Okay. Now, what I want you to see here is that you go parentheses first, finish your parentheses, then you go to your exponents, finish your exponents, then you go to multiplication and division. Now, multiplication and division are on the same step, so we go left to right on those. Okay. Then we finish multiplication and division, and we go to adding and subtracting. Now, here's what I want to point out to you. This is something that we always have to follow in any math problems, okay? So it's not just like when we're doing, quote, order of operations problems, okay? We're not. All right, what we're saying here is this is always the order that has to be followed in math. Mary, all I've written so far was just this part on the side of this slide on order of operations, okay? Are you saying you didn't see it earlier when I wrote? Because I have stuff written on this one and this one. Okay, you're not seeing other stuff? I don't know because I totally have it written on here. The 2 one. What do you mean the 2 one? I don't know what you mean by the 2 one, Mary. What do you mean? Okay, the second page. Uh, let's see. This one, this one, this one. I've done like 3 pages so far. Okay. Now, here's the things to watch out for. Okay. With order of operations, trying to do too much at one time leads to mistakes. We even saw this on our exponent stuff. Okay. Like some of y'all are really smart. Okay. You are. But part of being a really excellent math student is paying attention to detail, being careful. Even if you think you can do it, you write out the steps anyway. Okay. Like I was always really good at math, but you know what I did? I showed my steps. And that way I was really trying to make sure I didn't make mistakes. So it is not a sign of like you got to prove something by not showing any work. I don't think that's true at all. Okay. And so the when we're thinking through like the classical virtue type thing, right? Like we're thinking through, you know, our temperance, right? Showing the self-control to like really be diligent with our work. Okay. Um, Another thing that is a common thing that people make mistakes on is not going left to right on multiplication or division or on adding and subtracting. So what I'm saying here is this. If I give you 27 divided by 3 times 5, okay? What we would need to do here is multiplication and division is left to right. So we would do 27 divided by 3 is 9, then 9 times 5 is 45, like that. Same with, all right, if I give you 10 minus 7 or 3 plus 4, okay? 10 minus 3 is 7, plus 4 is 11, all right? So That's the order we need to be following, okay? So if there's a parentheses, you got to do that first, okay? Now, I want to show you some today that I'm working on some of the, yeah, Mary, I am writing. Chloe, you see my writing when I'm writing, right? What? Like, you see me doodling right here? Okay. Mary, huh? Yeah, Mary, I think yours might have frozen. You might want to like log out and log back in. That's, I think yours just froze up. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is write down these and see the step by step so that when you're doing the practice the next couple of days that you see the way I want it shown. All right. Because this is the way it needs to be shown. Now, here's what I want you to see too. That when we're looking at this, you're like, man, that's a lot of steps. Why do I got to show all that? Okay. Part of this is developing your skills for later grades too. Okay. So for when you get to algebra class and geometry class, knowing the way to show the process as you go through. That's me as a sixth grade teacher. Miss Butler is a seventh grade teacher. That's really part of what our job is to help you develop the ability to go through the processes. Okay. All right. So we're going to do basically a few of these here. All right. And you can kind of see where we're going here. Okay. And then I got one error analysis. So basically, today's goal is going to be us just practicing a few of these together and then you doing the practice on your own the next 2 days. Okay. And then a quiz on Friday. All right. So, what I want to start with here is you need the PEMDAS written on the side of your paper like this. Okay. All right. I'm just basically the first couple, I'm just going to talk through them. You copy them down. Okay. So we've got 11 divided by 1 plus, then parentheses 3 to the second power minus 4 times 2. Okay. Now, what we need to look at here is I'm going to circle what I need to do first. So we have 3 squared. Okay. Now, you probably don't want to write out 3 times 3 in the middle of the problem, but it's always a good idea to come to the side and write what that's going to be so you don't make the mistake of putting 6. Okay, so 3 to the second power is 9. Then rewrite the rest of the problem. Okay, I understand it's a lot of steps. You will not die, I promise. Okay. All right, so that's our next part. All right. Can anybody got it? No, Chloe, you're good. All right, has anybody got a question so far? Okay, like type questions in when you get them on what I'm doing. Okay. Next steps. I'm going to change colors on each step so you can see what I'm doing. So we got 4 times 2 is going to be our next step. We're still inside the parentheses, notice. So 4 times 2 is 8. Then recopy the rest of the problem. Okay, this is the kind of stuff. I promise you, if you get like overconfident or whatever, you will make mistakes. Okay, next one. I'm going to go with, no, not that one. All right, 9 minus 8 is 1 is our next one. Okay, then I'm going to recopy the rest. Okay, then I don't want that one. I'm going to do that one. 11 divided by 1 is 11. So notice I'm outside the parentheses. Now I don't have any exponents left. So I'm down to multiply and divide. 11 divided by 1 is 11 plus 1 is 12. Okay, questions on that one? Everybody got that one down? Okay. Like I promise you that your future teachers, that's how they want it shown. Okay, guys? Like that's it. Okay. All right. Next one. Okay, so we have these parentheses right here. Notice mean times. So that's 5 times 10. So the first thing we need to do is we got this big parentheses right here, this one, right? So the first step, we need the 7 to the third power. Now, the mistake to watch out for here, okay, we got 7 to the third power. It's not 21, right? Okay, so I probably would come to the side over here and say 7 times 7 times 7, that's 49 times 7, which I think is 343. Tell me if I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure that's right. Is that 343? I believe it is. All right, so this is 343 minus, and then 10 times 12. Okay, then I'm going to rewrite the whole rest of it here. Okay, now, next step we're going to have, all right, is still in this parentheses. Okay, so inside this parentheses, we got a subtraction and a multiplication. So we're in the parentheses. Next step is multiplication. So I'm going to circle that one. 10 times 12 is 120. Okay, we rewrite the rest of that one. 343 minus 120. And then we have these parentheses over here. But what I want you to notice about these parentheses over here, these guys with the 5 and the 10, that's just 5 times 10, okay? That's not an actual separate parentheses work because this means 5 times 10. There's nothing going on inside the parentheses, okay? Here, now we have 343 minus 120 is our next step, okay? That's going to be 223. Oops. So we have 223 right here. Okay. And then we rewrite the rest of the problem here. Now, if you got to here and you're like, but I can really go ahead and do 5 times 10. At that point, probably so. Okay. But that would be the only one so far that I've seen okay with working ahead on. So then 50 times 223 is 273. Okay. What questions do we have here? Anybody? Again, I'm just telling you that this is one where, like, with this much going on in a problem, if we're not super careful with our steps, we're going to make mistakes. Okay. Even as you guys who are like top rung math students, 90 plus percentile, we start skipping steps on this, we will start making mistakes. Okay. All right. So now I want you to kind of go ahead of me a little bit on this. Okay. So get started on this first one right here. Okay. So I'll say A right here. Okay, get started on this one. All right. And then type in your answer when you get it, assuming you get it before I get to it. Okay. So get a head start for a couple of steps. Then make sure I'm going to wait about 1 minute and then you make sure that your steps are where mine are. Okay. All right. So I circle the first thing you should be doing. So when you're ready to see my first step, look up here. And feel free to type in any questions you have as we're going to. Okay, now your next step should be this guy right here. Yes, Lorraine, you can type your answer when you get it and then see how you're going with it. Okay, and then just keep an eye on my steps and see if you got it or not. Okay, so it looks like Lorraine and Sage have the same answer here. Okay, so the 3 to the second power is 9. So your next step should be this. Okay. All right. So what we need to notice here now is on this one right here. Yeah, Luke, I think that is it, from what I can tell. Notice that these two right here, we can probably do on the same step because they're the same part of the order of operations. Okay. And then we got this. All right. So look at your work, see how yours came. Okay. So we actually I saw quite a few different answers there. Okay. So see if you can figure out what your first mistake was and then identify it so you don't make that mistake again. Okay. Any questions on the first one? You want me to explain what did you do here? Why did you do it this way? And so forth. Okay. Hey, Mary, is yours working now? You seeing what I'm doing now? Okay, good. All right. A lot of times the relaunch is helpful. Okay, second one. All right, you guys get ahead of me. A couple of y'all have already sent me an answer. You got the same one. So while I don't remember off the top of my head the answer, good chance. Okay. All right, so we're on this one now. All right, so looking in the parentheses here, I notice first thing in my parentheses is that multiply. Okay, so check to make sure your second one looks like this after the first step. Okay. Again, work ahead of me here. For this to be most beneficial, try to work ahead of me. Yeah, I'm the ones I put on here, I'm intentionally trying to put the kind that people make mistakes on. So if you're like, dude, you picked some tricky ones, right? I did. All right. It's not that I'm trying to trick you, I'm trying to give you the kind of the harder ones. All right. So the next step here, we have inside the parentheses one more step. Okay. So we have 6 times 3 to the second power plus 5. Okay. Charlie, you're just one off. You might want to check your adding or something, or your multiplying. I think you probably did the right steps. So it looks like to me, see, Luke, you're right. Lorray, you're right. Shelby, you're right. Um, let's see. Sage, you might want to check yours. I think I know what your mistake is. Yes, I do. The if you got all right, let me tell you guys this one. If you're getting 81, your mistake, if you got 81, is that you subtracted and before you multiplied inside the parentheses. Okay, that's the mistake. So look at this. Look at what I got right here. See if that's what you got right here. Okay, now the next step right here has to be this exponent. Okay, so 3 to the second power is 9. Then recopy the problem. All right. Yeah, Charlie, I think you did the problem wrong, just made like a computation. No, Clay, you did not. Huh? Oh, yes, that's right now. Okay. Then we're gonna go, we gotta multiply 6 times 9 is 54 plus 5 is 59. Okay. All right. So what you got here? So give me any feedback or I see a couple of y'all made the same mistake the first time. Some of y'all are giving me zero feedback, so I have no idea if you know what you're doing or not, which is not helping anything. Okay. So tell me either you're getting it, you're not getting it, what your questions are. How can I help you? I can't see through the other side of your computer. You know what I'm saying? So if you'll give me a little bit to work with, that would be helpful. Okay. Anybody got anything else? Okay. No, what in the world? No. Okay. I was trying to make it where I could see this and see more of y'all at the same time. Yeah, well, not happening. Okay. Next one. All right. All right. So I added one more thing here because you see how these little funky looking little thingies that look like this? Those are called brackets. They still work as parentheses. So when we're looking at the PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract, okay? That's still a parentheses, okay? So here we got some parentheses inside of parentheses, okay? Weird, right? Okay, so let me show you what we do on the first step. You're going to do this guy right here first. Okay, so go ahead and do him. Okay, and then rewrite your next step and make sure yours is what mine is. Okay. Okay, so here's your next step. Okay. Again, this bracket is a parentheses, just looks different. Okay, that's all there is to it. All right. So now you're going to do what's in the parentheses next. Okay. Then go down to exponent, then multiply, then add. All right. I'll give you a few seconds to get ahead and get your answer for me. All right. Type in your answer when you're done. Yes. Page, that is correct. Very good. 3, that is correct. Very good. Shelby, correct. Very good. Chloe, did you type that in wrong? What do you mean to type? Yeah. Charlie, you're correct. Okay. You see what I'm saying now. All right. Okay, so let's make sure you got the next step here. Keep typing your answers when you get to them here. So that's just 18 there now. All right. Okay. Now, our next step here. You did something there, Chloe. Sure which. Mm-hmm. Check your adding. I think you just added wrong. All right. Yeah, right. Yeah, Lorraine, you're right. Garrett, try again. Oh, hold on. No, it's not, Glenn. All right, Aaliyah, good job. Luke, you're right. Good job. Chloe, would you please write out 72 plus 18? Okay. All right, so 2 to the third power, remember, means 2 times 2 times 2. So one mistake to watch out for here is that's 8. Okay, that's not 6, right? So then this is going to be 8 times 9 plus 18. Okay. Then the next step's got to be, there you go, Chloe. Good. So you just did it. You did it right. You said it wrong, right? Okay. All right. Then 8 times 9. Give just one more second if anybody else wants to get their answer in. Is 72 plus 18 is 90. All right. Questions on that one? All right. Now you're like, well, that's good enough, right? That's enough for today. Nope, it's not. Because remember, the deal is I've got to, because we have 2 live lessons a week, I generally have to work in the 2 days worth of stuff at once. Okay. So we got to do some fractions and some decimals. Okay. If you have fractions or decimals, the steps are the same. Okay. So PEMDAS is not changed by it being fractions or decimals. You just got to be careful. Okay. So I'm going to kind of just work through these really quickly. You see what I'm talking about. All right. So here we're inside these parentheses first. 4 plus 11 is 15, minus 5 is 10. Okay, just kind of write out what I'm doing here. So we got 1.2 to the second power plus 2.2 times 10. All right, so 1.2 to the second power, that's an exponent, right? So that's going to be 144, 12 times 12, 2 decimal places in the problem, so 2 in the answer. So 1.44 plus, and then I would recommend that you go ahead and write the 2.2 times 10 right here instead of trying to do that all in one step. Okay, again, the more steps you try to do at once, the more mistakes you will make. Next one's going to be, so we have adding and multiplying, so we need to multiply first. 2.2 times 10 just means move the decimal over 1. So 22 plus 1.44. Again, I would not recommend you do that without writing it out here. Okay, so 22.00. You're like, wait, where'd you get the decimal from? The decimal is always the end of a number you don't see a decimal. Okay, so 22.00, 20 plus 1.44. It's going to give us 23.44. So just wanted you to see, I worked out a decimal one, and it worked out the same way, right? We did the same stuff. We just had a decimal in there. Okay, so it just means all the more you got to be careful with what you're showing. Okay. All right, now let's do one with a fraction. All right, so we have 3/8 plus 1/4 divided by 2. Okay, so the first thing's got to be 1/4 divided by 2. Now, here's what I would say. For me, if I've got a fraction in a problem and I need to do some computation to fraction, what I'm going to do probably is I'm going to come over here somewhere else and do that work. So 1/4 divided by 2. Okay. Then dividing fractions, you actually flip and multiply. We're actually going to go over what that property is called again next week. We keep the first fraction, change to multiplication, flip, take the reciprocal of the second one. So you have 1/4 times 1/8, which times 1/2, which is 1/8. So we have 3/8 plus 1/8, which is 4/8, which can reduce by a factor of 4, which gives us 1/2. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's how we would follow the order of operations there. Again, it's the same thing. It's just we brought in some fractions. Okay. So, when I told some of you guys who've been here all year, we're going to come back to fractions and decimals later, all through the year. You see that, right? There we are. Okay. Now I'm going to give you one more like this just to see what kind of funky stuff you might get, right? All right. So here we have 1/2 to the second power plus 1/8, then that whole thing to the second power. So what I would do right here, if I'm you, is I take this guy, the 1/2 to the second power, and I will write out that work over here. Okay, so there's 1/4. So that guy's 1/4 plus 1/8. And then we're going to do that to the second power. Okay, so 1/4 plus 1/8. Again, what am I going to do here? I'm not going to try to do that all in the middle of my order of operations part. I'm going to come over here to the side. So 1/4 plus 1/8. Okay, now we need to put that over the same denominator, right? So I actually prefer these problems, me personally. We got to get them over the same denominator regardless. Okay, so this is like this. I prefer to make it look like equivalent ratios, right? So times 1, then the common denominator here is 8. So that's times 2. And that's going to be 3/8. Okay, you add the numerators, right? You don't add the denominators. You get a common denominator, then you add the numerators. Okay, so we have 3/8 to the second power. Well, now we go back over here. Okay, we got 3/8 to the second power. Well, that means 3/8 times 3/8, top times top, bottom times bottom. Okay. So what I wanted you to see on this one was, one, that I'm still following that same order of operations. The order of operations is always the same. Okay. what I wanted you to also notice here was that when I had some other work I needed to do, in order to not junk up where I was showing my steps, I had like a separate, like, messy work, right? Like my messy work is over here. Okay. And then I can kind of, draw arrows back in there to show what I'm up to. Okay. Um, I would say keep the part in the middle here clean where you're showing those steps. All right. Questions? Aaliyah, is that a question on this or is it from earlier and I missed it?
It was from earlier.
Okay. Did I get it? Or I just noticed like
No.
2 minutes ago.
No.
Okay. All right. Now I got one more. Yeah, you would simplify if you could. However, 9 and 64 don't simplify. Because the only factors of 9 are 3 and 3, and then 9, obviously, and then 3 doesn't go into 64. Okay, so that's why that doesn't work. All right, now this is one other type of question you might see with this. Okay, I promise you, I'm not making these up. These are the kind of things that you will see often. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to tell you what we got the next couple of days. Then I'm going to get you to come back and do this last question and then we'll go. Okay. So today and tomorrow, the practice is going to be on order of operations with exponents. All right. So today is going to be with whole numbers, right? Then tomorrow is going to be where you're working in rational numbers, the fractions and decimals. Okay. And then Friday, there's a quiz that is on progress learning. Okay. I want you to turn in your work paper. Okay. Just like you do with your daily practice. When you do the quiz on progress learning, there's a spot on your canvas where I want you to turn in your work paper. Okay. So make sure you do that. Right. If you don't, I'm going to be sending you a message saying, I need the work paper to give you full credit. Just telling you that up front. That's how it's going to work. Okay. All right. So last thing, and once I say you're good, then we can head out. Okay. So here's the last kind of question I want to make sure you see. So on a math quiz, George did the following work. Okay. So you see George's work right here. So the first thing that you need to do here, A, so type me this. Okay. What is his error? And then B, you tell me the answer. Okay. All right. So that's what I want you to do. As soon as you've done that, then you'll be able to go. Okay. So please give me that answer first before you go anywhere. Okay. That part's correct, Shelby. Now just give me the answer. Um, well, Sage, he did do the wrong operation first, but that's not the first one he should have done. Okay, Claude. Now find me the answer. Lorray, go back a step first. Um, yes, Luke, that'll work. Okay, yes, Sage. Right now, give me the answer. All right, Luke, give me the answer. Yes, Charlie. Now give me the answer. Yes, Claude. You're good. Yes, Lorraine. So can you tell me which, just kind of say it a little more like he did this instead of this? Make sense? Yes, Aaliyah. Now give me the answer. Sage, you're correct. You're good. Shelby, you're good. Yep, you can go. Charlie, you're good. You can go. Okay, Garrett, good. Um, now Lorraine, go back. What I would suggest you do is because you're doing these very well. Go back and write the problem, ignore what he did, then see what you should do first. Okay, if you do that, I think you're going to know what he should have done. Luke, you're good. You can go. Aaliyah, same for you. right. Isla, Rylan. Time to see answers from you guys. See what you guys got. Okay, good, Isla. Isla, can you tell me what he did wrong? Because this is actually kind of, I've seen a lot of questions like this before, where the answer might be explain like a written out explanation of what the mistake was, and you have to choose them. That's why I want to make sure you see that. Yes, Lori, that's good. Okay, now give me the answer. Let me type you what I mean here. So that makes sense, Isla? All right, Emma, I don't know what you mean by that one. You might, yeah, you're good, Lori. You can go. Very good. Mm, now, Emma, go back to the first step here and maybe like do like I was just saying. If you'll write it down like this, okay, then I want you to ignore what George did here and you do your first step and see what your first step was different than his. It's the way I would approach this. No, well, it's not. It's not so much that he changed it. He shouldn't have done this part right here. Okay, he should have done this right here first. Okay, does that make sense? So that's what I'm saying by that. All right, because if you're thinking through, he should have been on doing all of this step first. Okay, you good, Isla? You're good. You can go. All right. So Emma, let's see if we can get you down to the answer here. Same with the other guys. Yeah. Okay. Now see if yes. Uh-huh. So he should be doing, yeah, that's the order on this one. Yes. Now remember the multiplying and dividing is left to right, but in this case, the multiplying is left and the dividing is right. So the kind of normal way. All right. Rest of you guys see if you can get to your answer. Uh Trying to figure out how you got that. No. So what we should have gotten here is so you should have 24 plus 2 divided by 2 minus 7, right? So the next step we should have is this. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 24 plus 1 minus 7. Okay. So then we got 25 minus 7, which gives us 18. Okay. Tell me if that makes sense. I'm not sure on that one, actually. That's why I was like, I don't know.